Hey folks, welcome to yet another curiously interesting conversation with Planetarium Labs co-founders JC Kim and Kijun So with TheNewsCrypto. Glad to have you guys here with us today. Can you guys introduce yourself and your story into this arena to our audience today?
Let me start from myself. So I am Kijun. So we are basically a long-year friend, and so we used to make some hobby product together, and we work together. And actually, the Nine Chronicles was our the first hobby project, open source game hobby project. So our biggest motivation was that we want to make the game world like working like Bitcoin. So Bitcoin doesn't depend on any kind of people or countries. Anyone can run a node and anyone can keep the history of the Bitcoin. So we also want to make the MMO role-playing game that has whole user history based on the blockchain, so that we can make the eternal world that anyone can participate and contribute the game's history. And so right now, so since we started 5 years ago, right now we are working with 60 people in our team, mostly in South Korea and Singapore, and working with 20 so Web3 gaming company to make ambitious game projects together right now.
Thank you, Kim. That was really great knowing you. And over to you, Kijun. We'd like to hear your part of the story as well.
Likewise, so JC and I met in our early 20s. I started my career at Nexon working on, it's the biggest South Korean game company, and working on social and mobile games. And then eventually I ended up talking with JC about, how blockchains could work as a world computer. And I think one of the ideas that we came up with was, could we actually host an entire game world on it so that it stays transparent, the rules stay exposed to everyone, the data is available. And so, we started out with Nine Chronicles as a small project, which grew and grew and grew more than what we imagined. And now we're, working on the Nine Chronicles upcoming launch together, which should give more freedom to the players and more capabilities for people to build and engage in game worlds as they wish.
Thank you, Kijun and Kim. That was interesting to hear your collaborative journey you guys had for more than half a decade. And speaking of Planetarium Labs' Nine Chronicles and your grand launch, mobile version's grand launch is coming up soon, you guys set a crazy record in just 3 days, having 100K pre-registrations. How are you guys handling this crazy hype just before the actual launch that's slated on November 22nd?
So right now, so we are working together mostly in Seoul, and so we are very concentrated team. So most of our final spec of Nine Chronicles and decided on so in Q4. So we have a lot of to dos right now, and so every day we are checking every aspect of the features, and so polishing everything together, so day and night.
So I think we're gathered together as a whole team, trying to get ready for the November 22nd launch, right? And I think the biggest part really is that the community is growing going to grow much larger, and we're going to see a lot of traffic and new data coming in with a lot of advanced improvements over the over the Nine Chronicles and for the PC version. So we're gathering together to have as smooth of a launch as we can, working really closely together.
So awesome to see the excitement coming up, and it makes me curious to give a try to your Nine Chronicles mobile version.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to see you there.
It's a cool thing to see that Nine Chronicles is among the top 10 decentralized MMORPG games with a huge user base. And since we have a mixture of audience like the Gen X to Gen Z and all the newbies in the town as well, can you introduce them to the Nine Chronicles world?
Nine Chronicles is the first fully on-chain open source role-playing game. So it means that anyone can download the source code from our GitHub, and they can expand and modify the game source code. And it doesn't depend on our company. So if there are one player who want to play Nine Chronicles, then the Nine Chronicles world remains eternally, because every user transaction is on the Nine Chronicles blockchain. So it doesn't depend on our private server. So and so for this, we also design our games ecosystem and economies, and not depending on our privileges. So anyone who want to make the gears of the game, so they needed to farm the materials from the dungeons. So based on protocol's rule, so they needed to make, even for us, we needed to farm some materials from the dungeons, and we needed to make gears. And if we want to buy for them, so we needed to trade from the others that they, based on our decentralized marketplace on Nine Chronicles. So it's a fully decentralized ecosystem and economy on the Nine Chronicles. That's the unique point of Nine Chronicles.
Thank you. That was very sweet of knowing Nine Chronicles. And Kijun, do you like to add anything on this one?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the world-wise, we are playing off of the Nordic mythologies with, addition of cat feline themes and the theme itself is very very much user friendly. You can come in and jump in and start learning about the world. But since we've been updating the game and the world for almost we just passed our 3-year anniversary now, you can find a lot of different kind of content to gear and battle and to meet people inside the network as well.
So great to know.
Yeah.
Nine Chronicles, as you stated, is one of the pioneers in decentralized MMORPG, the massively multiplayer online role-playing game. So, and you guys are in the top 10. So, a lot of a huge user base, and the in-game assets and all that stuff that's in Nine Chronicles, it kind of lures in all of us and gets us hooked on that. So we want to know a little bit about Nine Chronicles in terms of the technical layer. Talking about, you said, like, since the game is relying on your own native blockchain platform, right? So you have another specialized engine called as Planet. So, and there's one more interesting fact about your chains and stuff. You guys had the launch of a new chain called Kijun.
Yes.
It has got a lot of Asgardians name. We have Odin and we have Heimdall. So we would love to know a lot more about the technical infrastructure of Nine Chronicles.
What's really interesting about Planet is that you're building application-specific blockchain using C#, which is the language of choice by Unity game engine, which is the most widely used game engine in the world, right? So you use Unity and C# to be able to build a network that processes all the user actions, like, hey, I want to trade something, or hey, I want to go into Dungeon 5 and battle, or I want to fight someone else, or I want to receive some rewards. All these records are not just saved, but actually verified or even run as a simulated by the blockchain itself. And I think the reason why we decided to launch a new chain Heimdall was, so we're going to get, mobile user base is much larger than PC user base, and Nine Chronicles was also designed for mobile as well. And we're going to get the game out to a new set of users who are going to be very eager to explore the new world. And we thought it would be much more fun to gather together on a new chain, new start, give everyone an equal starting point by opening up a new world. And I think it's a natural evolution to where we want the game to be, where, it's not, I guess since the inception, we were almost like the guardians running the chain and making sure that the chains were running upright. But from this point on, gamers also can organize by themselves to say, hey, like, I want to open up a new chain. Maybe it'll called, some other guardians from the Asgardian galaxy, right? And, it might be launched with users actually powering the chain, and we wouldn't be the one that everyone has to rely on for the infrastructure and running. So I think it opens up capacity for much more users to come in, gives a fair starting point for all the new players, and also it opens up for the future of like new worlds and new chains and realms to emerge by the player base.
That's great. And I guess this is what the USP or the beauty of blockchain gaming, giving the powers to the gamers. So it's very cool that you guys are doing that stuff, and the infrastructure that Nine Chronicles has, a strong tech base. It's an evolution, and that's great. And speaking of that, we would also like to have a mischievous team named after Loki, if possible, as well. So
Yeah. or we could share the instructions and you can pop it up and maybe have a new realm with your user base. And no, yeah, absolutely. We'll keep this in this on
Thanks
the
for
list.
taking up the suggestions. So, moving ahead about Web3 gaming and blockchain gaming. So, it's a blend of blockchain and all the interesting tech that comes along with it, crypto and NFTs in a single ecosystem. How revolutionary is this combo? What's your thought on this?
So as a company, we think it's absolutely revolutionary, but I think it could be foreseen. It's an evolution also. I think gaming has always been about communities, even back from like Nintendo days. So playing Super Mario, you have this like magazine, people find things and share things, and people talk about them in schools. It was always about the community, but I think with online gaming, it started becoming more societies with rules and engagement and data and all these things interacting with one another. And I think one of the things that players were missing is open governance, open rules, and data also being available to players. But it's always been that data and rules and all this simulation was set inside private networks, right? Like they could change or even erase your account if they if for any reasons. And I think as a society, your gaming data and all these are becoming more of identities in a digital world, right? And I think so. The evolution is kind of foreseen. I think a lot of people want public infrastructure to really power their, I guess, social engagement, which a lot of it happens inside games. So we think it's revolutionary, meaning that it's the infrastructure is starting to realize itself. And I think even a decade ago we would have said, hey, like platforms are going to like closed platforms are going to rule the earth, but maybe there is other ways to do this.
I think providing lots of ownership to the gamer community is the biggest thing that by using the blockchain as Web3 technology. So, so not just for items ownership, we can also give them so games content itself to them. So we can, if the network has some revenue, as IP has some revenue, we can share by the tokenomics and the blockchain ecosystem. And so we can treat the community as a family of the IPs. So, but and the global level. So this is very unique case by based on this area. So we are expecting lots of great things will happen within 1 or 2 years, because lots of great Web3 game projects are ready to launch, and we are one of them. But the more games are now ready. Let's see how the industry will change.
So that's actually exciting to know about Nine Chronicles and the revolution of this combo. As you stated, it's something that empowers the community, and things are going to change up, the trends are going to come in, and we would see a lot of new things and a lot of new things from New Chronicles as well. So there are a lot of trends in the space in the Web3 gaming, and we see a lot of users flocking in, and investments are also happening, and a lot of VCs are more interested to explore Web3 gaming. So speaking of that, what is that one trend that stands out to you in your perspective?
I think one of the more interesting trend is, so in the first phase of blockchain gaming, it was just all about crypto, right? It was just about crypto, about maybe having dual tokenomics and how to distribute tokens to people. But I think it's we're to a point where blockchain game has improved and evolved so much that like we're starting to blend Web 2 and Web 3 together. And we're thinking about tokenomics that bridges fiat expenditures and also people investing into the game, and looking for longevity and actual mass adoption penetration and so forth, right? And I think it's we instead of forcing everyone to amass crypto and to like really jump on the bandwagon forth, we're trying to deal with billions of gamers and trying to get them into the space where blockchain is powering the backend, but also not in a more, I guess, nuanced way where it enhances the ecosystem and the economy. And I think that is going to emerge with the next set of blockchain games, which are targeted toward mass adoption, which will have in-app purchases and credit card payments and IIPs and all these things, but will be running on top of very advanced tokenomics.
Yeah, so bringing Web 2 closer to Web 3 is something that you're curious about, am I right?
I think, or empowering Web 2 with, I guess, what we've learned from Web 3. So like so much knowledge has been generated from Web 3, right? Since in the last 3-5 years, right? And I think a lot of it, we're about to really cross the threshold where a lot of this knowledge will apply to. I don't even want to say Web 2 games, just like online games out there.
A new frontier of online games, totally agreed.
Yes.
Kim, what would you like to add on this?
I think say next year, so Web3 game is not very very special things. It should be not. So it will be so integrated to the normal gaming spaces, because right now, so all of the listed public gaming company in South Korea that started to create their Web3 gaming projects. And right now is the Apple App Store and Google Play Store started to open their door to support NFT related games, supported games. And so we can introduce our Web3 aspect of game to the normal and mass users by using these channels. And there are lots of ways to support this very easy way, not buying from the tokens from crypto exchanges and bringing into my personal wallet. So we can remove all of this barrier and hurdles within 1 year. And most of them are already happening right now. Even Nine Chronicles M also doesn't require any Web3 things for normal gamers. They just download the game from Google and Apple Store, and they just use their in-app purchase integrated there using their credit card to pay something. We just use this infrastructure to the Web3 open blockchain by middle of there.
Yeah, so as you stated, you also have this particular line on your website stating no cryptos or wallets required. So that's true that you are kind of making all the users adopt Web3 gaming, and it's cool to know. Speaking of that, there's one thing. As you say, Web3 gaming is going to be treated as a very normal category. It's not going to be a very special category. It's going to become the regular category when it gets to be adopted massively in the mainstream. So that's a day that all of us are waiting for. And having the users accept all the bugs. So speaking of all this, we would also like to know more about the tokenomics of Nine Chronicles, how the ecosystem of how the reward system in Nine Chronicles runs. Can you brief us on that?
One core difference of other GameFi or pay to earn game with Nine Chronicles is that so we treated the NCGs not just a simple utility token of the game, but also we treated the NCG as a governance and ownership token. So anyone can stake their NCG to the game protocols named this Monster Collection. So by this, so they can produce the core rare items that most normal game sell these items by the company. So they, like for example, so AP Potion and Hourglass. Users want to play more or reduce their play time. They needed to buy something from the game company, but we are not selling this by ourselves. So we also needed to stake these NCGs to produce those items. And this is the same as the other users. Anyone who holds the NCGs, they can produce the rare items on the protocols. And by this, if the network revenue is growing and more of users coming into the space, the rarity of those items values is increasing, and all of the users can get the benefit from there. So the sharing ownership means that the sharing network revenue. And so we also make some core decisions by the NCG stakers. So we upload the agenda to the community, and they can vote using their staked token. So we can decide the core decision. So which rare item will be deployed on the the monster collection, or how many materials are produced on the next new dungeons. So we decide most of them with our community by using HGS. That's the core token economics what we want to implement.
Okay, so it's all to the gamers and it's whole run by the NCG. And the fuel of Nine Chronicles, or the key to Nine Chronicles, is NCG. That's pretty nice. Yeah, so speaking of that, I'm curious to know a little about your NFT in-game NFT collections that you have, decentralized cats, the DCC. So
Yes,
would you also like to share about that?
Yes, it's a multifunctional NFTs at the first time. So people use this NFT as a profile image, so they can use this as an X or their Telegram. And but so one more thing, more core feature of this NFT is they can also bring into the Nine Chronicles network too. So they can, so if they integrated this, so they use profile image of the DCC character on the Nine Chronicles, so they can play with them. And also, we have some staking features of DCC. So when users stake DCC, that they can earn some more materials of which can used by a game protocol. So they can bring into the materials of the game, and they can make some pets. So these pets contributed for item creation. So some of the pets make some faster item creation. Some of the pets contribute to more powerful item generation. So by this, we make the DCC is a very functional and useful, not just for profile images, but also for gameplay itself.
Okay, so NFTs, not just PFPs, also with something pinned with a strong utility inside an ecosystem. That's really nice to know. And the way people, as you know, NFTs are getting scrutinized right nowadays. Like it's all about the hype and it's all PFPs. And where is the utility and stuff? And such NFT collections which have a strong utility to a platform. And that's where Web3 gaming honors NFTs by giving them an additional benefit or perk in the ecosystem. That's fun.
I always say, like, if you're maybe in an MMO world with two factions and they speak different language, but maybe there is this one item that there's just like maybe 5 of them in this entire world of maybe million people. So there's like 500K people on one side, 500K on the other faction. And if there's like maybe 2 or 3 items that let you speak to one another, like how much would they cost and like how valuable would they be? And this has nothing to do with hype. It's just that people will want to utilize these items. And I think we want to be able to design games and data around these immeasurable value. And I think, I mean, PFPs are cool and fun, but I think there are many creative ways to build utility in data.
Totally agree, and I like to underline the fact that you said there's something beyond the hype. It's just about the fun and the utility and all the stuff that we are having via NFTs. That's so great. And again, having said that, you guys concentrate on, I mean, like you guys provide the gamers the opportunities to earn using their in-game NFTs and carry across platforms. How is that aspect of interoperability and the Nine Chronicles ecosystem?
I mean, obviously, we want the most important things like NCGs or the DCC NFT characters to be able to go from one network to another. The SCG token also is a omni-chain token with a layer 0, which is hosted on BNB chain. I mean, obviously, Ethereum and other should be easy to also support other Ethereum supported EVM supported chains. And I think the idea coming from here is that we want items, I guess, carry specific value in terms of like we want them to be an identity in the whole Nine Chronicles ecosystem. Then they should be able to go across chains. But I think for some things you want to leave inside your own specific chain because I guess for bandwidth issues or maybe for making sure that users stay fair in that ecosystem in that specific chain. So I think it's basically we by building the community should be able to choose which data is transferable and which should stay inside the specific chains for ways of for reasons of competition or reasons of fairness and so on.
What other ecosystems are you guys compatible on? Like, is it just Ethereum, or have you expanded to non-EVM chains as well?
So we are focusing. So Lit Planet is not an EVM chain, but we are focusing compatibility with EVM chains. For instance, actually, we have a game called BNB Chronicles on the BNB chain, which is right now like top 4 or top 3 to top 5 on the BNB chain in terms of daily active users, and we want to really push on that dynamic further. And it's also easy to have access and support for NCGs on other EVM supported chains as well after the integration with Layer Zero. And so I think we're mainly focusing on those chains in the future with lots of liquidities. But we're open to collaboration with different platforms and different chains where that also honor our principle of open source and I guess on chain data.
So since we are now working with Layer Zero, and Layer Zero also integrates not only with EVM chain, they also support non-EVM chain too. I think we can extend our Nine Chronicles most assets to the other chains by working with Layer Zero very easily right now. So for first, we are expanding to Ethereum and BNB chain, but there are lots of the layer 1 chains that are working with us. That's why they want to deploy some content of Nine Chronicles on their chain, and we are open for it. So I think after Nine Chronicles and launch, so we can explore the expansion of our IP content on the other blockchain.
M launch is definitely gonna expand the ecosystem of Nine Chronicles, and we are excited for it as well. So, speaking of collaborations, last year, 2022, marked two major collaborations that you guys had. One starting off with Animoca Brands, and then you had Binance Strategic Investment. So, these two key collaborations you had, and now you're working closely with Layer Zero. What other collaborations are on the pipeline for Nine Chronicles and Planetarium Labs?
So right now, the biggest collaboration is Apple and Google. So not it's a not very deep partnership, but just upload our game to their platform. But the things is very important. So we sincerely hope that we are so they are not cutting our game on their platform. So we are focusing on following their guideline and their new guideline for NFTs, and so we are positive about that. And after that, so we are very open to the other blockchains too. So like I think it would be specialized layer 1. So for example, some of the like Oasis, they are very strong at Japan market, and so we are very open to working with them. The other the collaboration is mostly about the proof of the POS transitions. Right now, so Nine Chronicles blockchain started from POW, and so anyone can participate, but it was very slow. So that's why we move from the POW to POS right now. And for POS, we needed to make some great validator partners at the moment. So we are now have some discussions with some of the game companies and some of the blockchain validator companies and the others. And I think so we can announce within this year for that, and it would be good.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that update as well. Yeah, so thinking of another thing, like all these collaborations and the M launch coming up, this question is a must question to answer. So, what is your prediction for this progress of Web3 gaming, this industry right now in this market that's facing a lot of dramas and a lot of scrutiny and a lot of building and a lot of advances as well?
Building a game company is hard. Building games are hard. Building game companies are hard. And coming up with something very genuine that reaches users and creates a community is really hard. And I think we were also very lucky in how we were able to build a community around Nine Chronicles when it was possible to do so. I think with so much investment flowing into Web3, I think people had this idea of, like we're going to attach a token and the game will fly off. And it really hasn't happened for many of the followers. And I think we want to learn, what we could learn more as an industry is really to make games that really have a specific edge and cater towards the players who are drawn to that edge. In case for Nine Chronicles, it was this crazy idea that like players could run nodes and own their data, and like we had a very specific users who really liked that, and we then started building more user-friendly features so that like anyone could experience that. And I think really like finding your edge is an existential question that like all game companies have to eventually face. And I think I think in that way, we're building a really good experience in terms of the industry. Like a lot of us are trying very many different things and then also sharing our knowledge very openly, trying to get across the border. And I think, like even with mobile, like the first generations of mobile games weren't all that great. People were like, it's I can carry it, but why wouldn't I play it on my like PlayStations or Xbox or Nintendo? And then but after maybe about the fourth year or fifth year of mobile gaming, we had solved a lot of these user usability issues, and it was able to explode. And I think Web3 gaming will eventually end their way, and we've been like every year we see so much improvement over the last year in terms of adoption. And I mean, even now, like the numbers of acquisitions are still great. It's just that like it's not it like we passed the initial hype cycle. So I think we are going to have to get there where we are still creating content that caters towards specific users and really has that reach.
So Web3 gaming will be the fastest growing new paradigm since our in the history. So I think the mobile game paradigm takes over 7 years to go to the major level, and the online game also takes around 8 years to go to major titles. I think so. We it's in Web3 games, so we can major level over 2A titles within 4 years from exit.
So that's too true. And what do you guys say? Like this one, Web3 gaming, empowering users and having the community intact. As you said, we've passed all that initial hype and we are now in the phase of innovation, building things stronger so that we welcome a lot of users and satisfy their expectations of gaming industry and stuff. So it's so good to know that we are staying committed to innovate stuff and bring in strong games inside. So that's great. And pretty much excited for the M launch as well, how it unfolds and how, Planetarium Labs is going to empower the Web3 gaming industry. So that's very great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please, we're ready.
So yeah, so that's so cool. And thank you so much to you guys as well for letting us know and giving a glimpse of what Nine Chronicles are building right now, your goals, and how this whole paradigm is evolving. And thank you for being so humble in explaining all this stuff to us. So, all the very best for the launch that you're coming up with and version of Nine Chronicles. And I'm sure users would really love playing that and exploring the features that's on their mobile. So, any last words that you would like to say to our viewers?
But we are now open our pre-registration of Nine Chronicles. So please, so we are giving lots of benefit and ownership to the participants. So and check out the pre-register.ninechronicles.com. Thank you.
Thank you for the amazing.
Yeah, so this was JC Kim and Kijun Sir from Planetarium Labs, and they presented the whole glimpse of what Nine Chronicles are, and we learned a lot about Web3 gaming and how this paradigm right now is, and how it's going to be in the future, their predictions, and that was totally fun and cool to listen to both of you, and thank you so much for taking your time and coming to this conversation and having with TheNewsCrypto. We are so delighted, and we would love to hear a lot from you and your projects and the updates that's coming up in the future. Thank you so much, guys.